Coming in at number 10, Scar is a rug in Hercules. Nobody likes Scar. The oddly British brother of King Mufasa who ends up conspiring to murder him is just, a bit of a douchebag. Scar is a bad lion. I categorically don't agree with hunting animals, and I find decorating with death a bit morbid, but it happens, and some people have, say, moose heads on plaques on their wall, or polar bears or lions turned into rugs. Anyway, in The Lion King, sassy old Zazu says that Scar would make a very handsome rug, and, well, it seems he did. At the end of Hercules' Zero to Hero sing-song, he dances with a lion pelt, which he then throws on the ground in style of a rug. Have a little look. Looks a lot like Scar, doesn't it? Dead skinned Scar. Honestly, maybe in this lion's case, he got what was coming. Coming in at number 9, we have Clayton's corpse in Tarzan. I knew that Clayton died in Tarzan, but I never realized that his dead body flashed before my young eyes. So Tarzan and Clayton fight, but unfortunately for Clayton, he takes a few wrong moves and ends up falling into vines. A long drop and a scream was enough for me to realize that someone had died in Disney, although realistically I guess something could have saved him. But no, Disney makes it super clear without any of us realizing. If you look what happens when lightning flashes, you can see him hanging. Creepy and really scary. Coming into number 8, we have swastikas on Pongo's back. The late Walt Disney has regularly been accused of being an anti-Semite. He created a dubious and tone-deaf cartoon of Donald Duck dressed as Hitler reading Mein Kampf. He also hosted popular Third Reich Nazi film director Leni Riefenstahl in his studios. If all of that didn't happen, then maybe I would consider this more of a coincidence, but have a look at Pongo's spots on his back from this frame in 1961's 101 Dalmatians. Weird, right? Honestly, I think this maybe is more of an awkward coincidence than an Easter egg, but a lot of people do think that perhaps one of the animators at Disney had something to do with it. Was it a signal? Coming into number 7, we have full frontal nudity in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Adults might not find this so scary, but this is definitely worrying and inappropriate for a Disney film. There is straight up full frontal nudity in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. To be fair, the character of Jessica Rabbit is pretty not okay for kids anyway, what with her Daily Mail headline-inducing skin-tight dress and thigh-high slash. But it seems that Disney animators added one more minor detail. She's going commando, and we find out in one frame. There she is. As she is in a car accident and thrown out of a car and tossed in the air, we see her legs akimbo. Honestly, I do get it though, you can't get smooth lines in a dress like that with underpants on. Coming in at number 6, we have the lemon party in Cars 2. I'm sorry, but what the lemon is going on here, Disney? If you haven't heard of the phrase lemon party, you must have missed out on our Things You Shouldn't Google series. Lemon party is most certainly a thing you shouldn't Google, and it is also one of those Reddit bro chat fist bump gross things that lads in their late 20s and early 30s like to discuss over sips of bottled beer in their San Francisco design studios. Too descriptive? Sure. Anyway, some cheeky animators made a reference to it in Disney's Cars 2. If you know what it was, you would know that actually referencing it isn't okay. It is so obvious that it's a lemon party too. There are an abundance of lemons and party hats, and it makes no sense in context of the story. I have never noticed this, but I'm pretty scared at number 5. We have Snow White getting groped by a handsy forest. As Snow White encounters the huntsman, she runs away into the woods, far into the forest. As a kid, I was under no doubt that the woods are a scary place to be, but it turns out I missed out on the fact that actually, they're even scarier than I thought. As she runs for a few seconds, the woods appear to be alive and hell-bent on groping the young princess. Seriously, have a look. The branches have fingers, and creepy, spindly, gropey fingers at that. Honestly, how terrifying and non-consensual. Not okay, Disney. Coming into number 4, we have the Muses Are the Haunted Heads. Okay, we're back to Hercules. I love Hercules. Hercules and Disneyland share a scary little Easter egg between them. As the Muses sing with Meg in I Won't Say I'm in Love, they line up like this. Have a look. This turns out to be exactly how the head statues are situated in the Haunted Mansion attraction in the Disneylands. What is Disney trying to tell us? I have to say, Hercules is one of my favourite Disney movies, and the Haunted Mansion is one of my favourite Disneyland rides, so... Coming into number 3, we have Jack Skellington in The Princess and the Frog. I love Jack Skellington, but he is a scary dude. Undoubtedly, he is the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, a scary town filled with the macabre where children throw heads instead of snowballs and the whole place is an absolute scream. Yes, we know that he is lovable if a little chaotic, but I honestly would be scared to see him lurking in the shadows. And it seems that this is exactly what he's doing in The Princess and the Frog. Have a look at that shadow there. To me, it looks a lot like the spooky Pumpkin King, does it not? Coming into number 2, we have skulls in Gaston's eyes. Gaston is gone after his fight with the Beast. He has nobody to blame but himself either. He is the worst from the very beginning. At the end, he breaks into the Beast's home, shoots him, and stabs him. He is not a gracious loser. There is no way that he could have survived the fall from those turrets to the ground, but in any case, if we were amid any confusion, Disney pops in a scary, morbid Easter egg. That's right, for a few terrifying frames, we see skulls in Gaston's piercing blue eyes. What a way to tell the audience that he was doomed. Finally, coming into number 1, we have numerous Shining references in Toy Story. Have you guys ever seen The Shining? It is terrifying, but it is one of Stanley Kubrick's finest works. The story is about a man who goes mad, is haunted by ghosts, and tries to murder his whole family, and there's a whole bathtub thing that I think we'll just save for another day. Scary, sure, but film buffs tend to love Stanley Kubrick, and the Toy Story creators are no exception. The Shining is referenced throughout all of the Toy Story movies pretty heavily. The number 237, for example, the number of the spooky hotel room with the bathtub lady that we're not talking about, comes up all of the time in the movie, and that carpet there is the same carpet from the Overlook Hotel in the horror film. If placing nods to one of the scariest books and films of all time in a children's movie isn't a scary Easter egg, I honestly don't know what is. Coming in at number 10, Sid appears in Toy Story 3. Have you ever needed a terrifying lesson in what happens when nasty kids grow up? Well, look no further than Toy Story 3. In the early Toy Story narrative, Sid is Andy's insane neighbor who tortures toys and makes worrying Frankenstein-style hybrids. Sid is the main antagonist in the first Toy Story, and he's the only other person in the world that knows that toys are alive. So, what happened to sick old Sid when he grew up? Well, have a look. How can we tell it's him? Well, the major clue is his t-shirt, which is exactly the same. While Andy is going off to college, Sid is picking up garbage. Although we have to say, it is an honourable job, someone has to do it. Not all people work in refuse are evil toy torturers. Coming in at number 9, we have boobs in the frame of The Rescuers. It seems that some of Disney's animators had a sick sense of humour. In the 1977 movie The Rescuers, one artist snuck in the image of a naked woman into 2 frames. The scary thing isn't boobs, because sure, boobs. It's boobs in a kids film placed there purposefully by male illustrators. Honestly, that just ain't cricket. Scarier still, it took 22 years for anyone to realise, so that was a lot of secret boobs happening. The Rescuers' 1977 home video was finally recalled in January 1999. The reasoning? Exactly that, objectionable background images. If you're out there looking for the peep show, again it is a kids movie, but they do happen at 38 minutes in. Coming into number 8, has anyone ever noticed Jafar in Hercules? Recognise this beggar who makes an appearance in Hercules. It looks a lot like Jafar does, and he's in the prison cell with Aladdin. It actually likely is him. There's a theory that actually it was Hades who gave Jafar his powers. This theory and the scary Easter egg in question are seemingly confirmed in a TV episode of Hercules, Hercules and the Arabian Nights. In this episode, Hades and Jafar meet and scheme to destroy both Hercules and Aladdin. Perhaps the beggar we see in Hercules is a warning sign of the trouble to come. Coming in at number 7, we have the Illuminati in DuckTales. There are not one but 2 symbols of the Illuminati in DuckTales. This list doesn't have to all be movies, does it? No siree. DuckTales was a TV show, and actually I used to love it, but was it secretly indoctrinating me, swaying me towards the Illuminati? Like, maybe. In one episode, Scrooge McDuck visits a doctor to cure a sickness that weirdly seems to only affect cashiers, bankers, and millionaires. Rightio then. In the background, you can spot an eye chart with weird letters on it. At one point, the letters clearly read, "Ask about Illuminati." Illuminati. In another episode that I believe is called The Treasure of the Lost Lamp, the gang are traveling across a desert. Scrooge trips over a pyramid that has the Illuminati eye symbol on it. There were loads of rumors that Walt Disney was secretly a member of the Illuminati, so maybe this confirms it. Coming in at number 6, we have the spindle and spinning wheel in Tangled. Watch out, Rapunzel babe, 1 foot wrong around that spinning wheel in the background there, and not only will you be locked in a castle at the mercy of a mother witch, you also likely fall into a deep and terrible slumber. This spinning wheel in the background is a terrifying Easter egg that reminds us of the chaos of the 1959 movie Sleeping Beauty. Coming in at number 5, we have the Hans Wanted poster in Big Hero 6. Okay, I just want to say that I loved Big Hero 6. It was so good. It was really beautiful, but also really sad at the same time. Set in the fictional universe of San Francisco, but it is also linked to the world of Frozen, which is set some years in the past. There is a worrying Easter egg in Big Hero 6. There's a wanted poster for none other than murderous schemer and love rat Hans. But wait, what? Not only does that mean he's on the loose waiting to honey trap another major babe then break her heart, he's also clearly a time traveler, which makes him even worse. Just when you thought that you were safe, another poisonous male has joined the roster in the 21st century. Hip hip hooray. Coming in at number 4, we have the naked message in Aladdin. I suppose this is more of a subliminal message, a hidden message, more so than an Easter egg, but it's pretty famous, so I think we should talk about it. A lot of people think that in a certain moment of Aladdin, when Jasmine's on her balcony with Raja the tiger, basically some choice words are uttered. Raja scares off Aladdin, who is heard saying, "Good teenagers, take off your clothes." Obviously, if that was actually said, then it would be pretty gross and a subliminal piece of grooming, which would be wholly illegal, exposing a wider issue with Disney. Have a listen and tell me what you think is being said.
What's our little Bo doing? Come on, good teenagers, take off.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Apparently, according to Disney, what is actually said is, "Good kitty, take off and go." But that doesn't really make much sense. Also, the line was suspiciously deleted out of the DVD release. Coming into number 3, we have the tea set in Tarzan. What is that Turk is playing with, or should I say who? Maybe it's just a coincidence that this tea set looks a lot like the family of Mrs. Potts and Chip. But then wait, let's look a little bit closer. Isn't that a chip in the teacup? Right, well we know that Disney doesn't do things by mistake. There is a theory that suggests that Jane is actually a descendant of Belle and the Beast. In fact, if you look at her, she kind of has Belle's features, but the Beast's piercing blue eyes. But like, we know that the characters in Beauty and the Beast turned into all of the objects, and then when the spell was broken, they turned back into themselves, so what exactly is going on here? Are these the vacant bodies of the lovable Mrs. Potts and happy-go-lucky Chip? I need answers. Coming into number 2, we have Sully's skin. In a post-movie credit roll scene in Monsters Inc., Randall, the creepy monster, explains to Sully why he hates humans. He said, "I've heard humans skin monsters and make toilet seat covers out of their fur." Sully's like, "You know what, babe, that is nonsense," and sure. But it turns out that this might actually be true, and that none other than our favourite monster Sully may have met a terrible fate. In Pixar's short Partysaurus Rex, we see a very suspicious looking toilet seat cover. Like, can it be? No. Surely not. Are things just like Randall said? Did Sully make a mistake in trusting humans? Is he now dead and all that is left of him is his fur? Say it isn't so. Finally, coming into number 1, we have the Pizza Planet van. The Pizza Planet van appears not only in the Toy Story movies, it can also be seen as an Easter egg in A Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Cars, Up, and Brave. That doesn't sound too scary, does it? Pizza van. Everyone likes pizza, including me. In fact, I definitely love pizza. But when you think about it, isn't it a little bit weird that the Pizza Planet van appears in so many different timelines? Brave is set in like the 1400s, long before pizza and cars, and then again in Monsters Inc., which is set during the next millennium. Well, it seems that the appearance of the Pizza Planet van in a multitude of different Disney movies is actually a symbol of the apocalypse. Now this ties into the whole wild Pixar theory, which suggests that all of Disney Pixar movies are interlinked and set in the same universe. The theory starts with Brave. A time loop is apparently created by a magic witch who disappears through a door. It later turns out in the theory that this witch is Boo from Monsters Inc. The timeline spans the 14th century right up to the 50th century with Monsters Inc. Now at one point, animals rise up and try and overthrow humans, but machines help the humans win. Sure. The whole thing culminates in the remaining humans mentions being sent off to space in a ship called Axiom amid a worldwide takeover of the evil corporation BNL. Somehow, it all hinges on pizza, I think.
Starting off this countdown, we have Scar's corpse. The Lion King's character Scar can be seen in Hercules, but he's not alive. No, they show his dead body, which is pretty dark, Disney. Sheesh. So in Hercules, there's a scene where Hercules is wearing a lion on his body while he's getting painted. He then takes it off and throws it on the floor, and we can clearly tell that it's the body of Scar. So after the Lion King, Scar was skinned and then given to Hercules. How dark. And this was actually confirmed by Disney's lead animator. Andreas Deja worked on animating both Hercules and Scar in The Lion King. So they threw this in as a little Easter egg. In our 9th spot, we have The Shining. And if you guys are liking this video so far, why don't you hit that thumbs up button, because it really helps us out and I appreciate it. Stephen King's The Shining was referenced an awful lot all throughout Toy Story, which is super whack because we all know that The Shining is not a kid's movie, and it's certainly not Disney friendly. First, let's take a look at the first Toy Story. Fans were quick to point out that the carpet in Sid's house looks exactly like the carpet in the hotel in The Shining. I mean, they are different shades, but it's the exact same design, which is also quite clever because then they're trying to use this to symbolize how terrified the toys feel inside of Sid's house by comparing it to how the characters felt living in the hotel in The Shining. Like 10 out of 10. That was super well done. But that's not all. There was another reference to The Shining, but this time in Toy Story 3. They used the number 237 a lot throughout this film. 237 is referenced to room 237 in The Shining. This number can be seen on the license plate of a garbage truck, on a message Woody sent to a toy whose code name is Velocistar 237, and on the side of a security camera in Sunnyside Daycare. In fact, one of the editors on the film admitted that these were all references to The Shining. I mean, it's kind of a weird movie to reference in a kid's film, but whatever. Moving on at number 8, we have Melted Olaf. Sadly, a lot of Disney characters don't have the happy ever after we thought they did. Next, let's take a look at Olaf from Frozen. He's such a fun and loving character, but sadly, he doesn't have the best ending. Sometime after Frozen, Olaf dies. He melts away. And his body can be seen in Moana. If you take a close look at the supplies Moana is carrying with her on her boat, you can see an oddly shaped carrot and a stick that looks like a hand. Looks exactly like Olaf's nose and hands. So Moana was using his nose as food and his arms as a possible fire starter for her mission. Well, that's dark. In our 7th spot, we have Finding Nemo. Again, for this next Easter egg, let's take a look at the tearjerker of a movie, Brother Bear. For real, if this movie didn't make you cry, then you're a monster, or your heart is made out of ice. Anyways, in one scene when the character is salmon fishing, we can see Nemo among the group of salmon that's about to be caught and eaten. First off, how the hell did Nemo, a tropical fish, get so far north? Like, Marlin must be tired of looking for your ass. Anyways, what does this mean? Well, it means that Nemo, the little rascal, went out again and got lost somehow. And then he ended up as someone's meal. I doubt he made it out alive this time. Now, it turns out that at this time, Disney and Pixar were feuding, so that might be why this creepy little cameo was put into the film. In our 6th spot, we have Skinned Sully. Now, I love the movie Monsters, Inc., so this one is pretty dark for all you fans out there. But Sully is dead. Yep, you heard me. He died sometime after Monsters, Inc. was released. So in the film, Randall always mentions how bad humans are. At one point, he says that humans skin monsters and make toilet seat covers out of their fur. Sadly, this foreshadowed the fate of Sully. In a Toy Story short called Toy Story Toons, Partysaurus Rex, there's a scene where we see a kid taking a bubble bath. And it just so happens that in the bathroom on the toilet seat is a fuzzy Sully seat cover. So Randall was right. Humans do skin the monsters and turn them into toilet seat covers. Poor Sully, he ended up being skinned alive. I wonder what happened to Mike then. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Boo Went Crazy. This next Disney Easter egg is accompanied with a pretty dark and crazy theory, so buckle your seatbelts. In the movie Brave, in the witch's workshop, we can see a wood carving of Sully. Why would that be there? First off, Brave takes place hundreds of years before Monsters, Inc. does. The witch and Sully didn't exist at the same time, but she drew him, meaning at some point in her life, she must have met him. Well, theory goes that this witch in Brave is Boo from Monsters, Inc. I know it seems wild right now, but just hear me out. So Monsters, Inc. takes place in the future when humans don't exist anymore. It's theorized that the monsters use the doors to go back in time to a child's house to then collect their energy. Meanwhile, in Brave, we see that the witch magically disappears when she goes through doorways. Just like the scarers from Monsters, Inc. do. So theory goes that Boo couldn't forget about Sully. She missed him so much that when she grew up, she figured out how to teleport through doors. She then teleports through these doors in an attempt to stumble across Sully again. It's just sad because she did not age well. And who's gonna tell her that Sully is a toilet seat cover? Not me. Coming in at number 4, we have The Shining Part 2. Toy Story isn't the only Disney movie to reference The Shining. The movie Coco does it too. And this is because the guy that added the Shining Easter eggs in Toy Story also worked on Coco. So in one scene, we see Dante, the dog, waking up from a nap. In the background, we see an axe stuck in a tree. We all didn't think much about it. We probably just missed it too. But the director said that the axe was modeled after one of the axes from The Shining. That's not the only reference though. In that same shot, right behind the axe, there is a red drum. The director said that this was a reference to Red Rum from The Shining, which we learned is murder backwards. You thought that was it? Think again. The Grady twins from The Shining also make an appearance. Yeah, you know those creepy little twin girls in blue dresses? They're in Coco. As Coco runs through Frida Kahlo's underworld art studio, we see a painting of the two twin girls. The director again confirmed this reference. So creepy. Yeah, let's put The Shining in a kids movie. Great. In our third spot, we have The Last Rex. Rex from Toy Story can be seen in the 2008 film WALL-E. In one scene, we see him in the back among WALL-E's collection of human junk. Now, if you think about this Easter egg is actually very depressing. Rex is all alone in a world that has been completely destroyed. All of his friends are dead. He's alone, isolated, and unloved. And as we know from all the Toy Story movies, loneliness really gets to these sentient toys. Rex is probably so anxious and depressed now. Moving on to number 2, we have Herbie Fully Drowned. Speaking of sentient things, our favorite car Herbie from Herbie Fully Loaded has died. This car has made a cameo in a number of Disney movies, but sadly, his time has come to an end. In Finding Dory, there's a scene where we see Herbie at the bottom of the ocean. He's badly decayed and covered in moss, meaning he's been down there for quite some time. Now, I don't know if Lindsay Lohan pushed the car into the ocean or what, but we all know that cars and oceans, or large bodies of water, don't mix. So sadly, his time has come to an end. And in our number 1 spot, we have The Three Little Pigs. Disney is sick for this next Easter egg. So for this one, let's jump back in time and take a look at Disney's animated short, The Three Little Pigs. In one scene, we see the pigs singing and dancing in one of their homes. But beside them, in the back, is a framed picture of sausages. As we all know, sausages are made out of pig. To make matters worse, the frame is labeled as father. So their father got turned into sausages and then eaten. In another scene, we see another framed piece of meat. This time, it's like a ham leg or something, and it's also labeled as father. So the Three Little Pigs' father was killed, hacked up, and sold as different meat items. Like, that is so twisted and sick.